Hello and welcome to this on-location episode of ZEIT HEIST, the podcast about the universe, energy, mysticism, metaphysical shit, esotericism. You know, it's about whatever you want. If you clicked on this because you are looking for instructions to the middle pillar ritual, yes, I do give those exact instructions later in this video. Click ahead to that chapter if that's all you're here for, that's fine. But otherwise, those of you who are here, maybe finding this show is synchronistic as well. Because first I'm going to do my thing and talk about myself and everything, which is one and the same. I'm Josh Gaines. I'm your host. I'm your favorite guy. I'm sitting on the steps of the St. Andrew Catholic Church, catty corner to the Alberta market, where I just had a delightful fried chicken and JoJo dinner. And if any of you watchers are vegan, then I didn't eat dinner there, and I had something else that is within your worldview and framework, and I only eat that all the time as well. And as always, this is a CGI rendered cigarette. It is not real. I would never, ever do that. Because those are bad for you. So why am I talking about the middle pillar? So I meant to record this yesterday, but yesterday was a very full day. Yesterday, June 21st, 2024. I'm recording this on the 22nd. But 4 years ago, 2020, I performed the middle pillar ritual for the first time. At that time in my life, the wind is kicking, baby. At that time, I had never done a magical ritual before. I'd never entered into the world of the occult, so to speak. It was all so new to me. But on the first day that I did, which I didn't even know about Solstice, I didn't know about summer solstice, I didn't know what that was, wasn't paying attention to any of those rhythms in the Earth's or planetary cycles, but just so happened to take the plunge of performing this ritual for the first time on that day. And it seemed so important at the time, even though I didn't know what I was doing, that I put a little repeating reminder in my calendar every year because it seemed like a landmark date. And it was. I suppose I want to first of all give credit to the authors and speakers that led me to this path, and that would be first and foremost Damien Echols. I watched his episode of the Midnight Gospel on Netflix I believe on 4/20/2020, when that show premiered, when everyone was in lockdown, and that was a perfect time for that show to come out and for a massive amount of people to see it and to be introduced to, yes, a creative and trippy show with interesting conversations with Duncan Trussell, but also there is some serious occult shit in that program, in those 8 episodes. And seeing Damien Echols' episode, oh yeah, I was giving credit. Damien Echols, Jason Louv, I would also say Lon Milo Duquette, were very prominent teachers for me at this time, prominent authors who helped me along my path at that time. And the profundity of their words and their work and their research and their books and their podcasts continue to influence what I do today, even though at this moment I don't really follow the Western ceremonial magic path at all anymore, or I don't participate in it, even though I believe it is very valid and very real and very useful for certain things. So I watched Damien's episode. And something rung true with me from his words that felt like a flower blooming open in my soul at a time in my life when I no longer believed in God, um, but I wasn't an atheist either, and I didn't know what to believe. I had read the works of, Anne Lamott. I found her path through faith and her eloquence very powerful and interesting. I'm not going to remember her books right now, but I read all of them. Anne Lamott is a beautiful soul, a very poetic, funny writer. She's not esoteric whatsoever. And I think she would still proclaim the name of Jesus as her central point of faith. But it's like her words helped me as a stepping stone out of Christianity. After that, it was Richard Rohr, who is still a Catholic priest. And yet he has such an open mindedness, such a beautiful perspective on the idea of God or what God is or what we are and the fullness of everything that was so helpful to me in while I was leaving behind these dogmatic evangelical Christian ideas. And I'm such a fucking wild child that after leaving Christianity, I was just looking for anything. I was reading widely. I was reading Hindu texts, Vedantic texts, Taoist, um, Jewish Kabbalistic text. I was reading, and then I was like, magic. All right, magic with a K. All right, man. There was a time in my life where I thought that was fully pretend, like 100% pretend, fake bullshit, sparkly magic, voodoo, stars, astrology, tarot cards, candles, and sigils. And I was like, I stepped into it as a full skeptic, but with an open mind and an open heart. And hearing Damien Echols' words on Midnight Gospel was like, all right, this dude seems intelligent and sincere, and I have to know more about what he's talking about. And so I bought his first book, High Magic, during lockdown, which was a perfect time to introduce myself to those ideas. And he describes very specific rituals, like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and the middle pillar. His first book is primarily about those things, but also about just getting into the early stages of meditation, visualization, working with the astral realm. And it really resonated with me. I read it more than once, and I took it whole hog. I was like, all right, I'm going to follow these rituals to a T. I'm going to do them every single day because I was stuck at home with not a lot else to do. And I was like, who knows, man? This seems real, and I don't know what's here. I don't know what is at the end of this. I don't know if there is an end to this, but I went with it. And so I had read Damien's full book, and on summer solstice of 2020, I went down to my garage from the apartment that I was living in Denver, and like closed the garage door and had his book laying out there open with the instructions, and just quieted my mind and like slowed down my breath, and with a lot of sincerity and intention I worked through the middle pillar ritual. Now there are other authors and YouTube videos and a plethora of information out there describing the history of this, where it came from, Israel Regardie's work and Aleister Crowley and their connection to the Golden Dawn tradition and Thelema, all of this. I'm not going to get into that. I've read that stuff. It's all valid and useful, but that's not what we're doing here. If you want that info on the history of this ritual, go there. But I did this, and at the time I was trembling, dude. Like, maybe not literally, but I was nervous. I was a little scared as a guy who had grown up a Christian and who had been told that magic and the occult and demons and, ritual and circle and sigils and a wand and all this were somehow dangerous, evil, problematic, bringing malefic spirits into my world or conjuring demons, which is all kind of sort of true, but very, very silly, and there's no need for fear. But when I started this ritual, I was scared. I was nervous. That's also a CGI Stella, added in post, of course, because I would never smoke cigarettes and drink a beer on the steps of a church while telling you about an occult ritual, because that would be very bad and wrong and sinful. And I would be conjuring demons. So I do this ritual. All I noticed that day was that this is going to sound nuts and obscure and abstract and fucking insane, but that all of a sudden, the energy around me, in a way that I couldn't describe, had changed. And that silly, goofy little things. This seems silly, and yet it's like kind of sort of a wink from the universe. That day, I I tossed a fork from the couch to the sink. I had like finished a meal. This is nothing. This is just like a human moment. I had finished a meal later on, hours later. I like tossed this fork nonchalantly, and it whoop 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 ping, it like perfectly landed in a mason jar in the sink, like a trick shot from a YouTuber. And I was like, all right, okay, that's nothing, whatever. That happens sometimes. That has no correlation to a magical ritual that I did per se, but it was still just like a thing that seemed a little more precise than the rest of life that I had lived. Oh yeah, I was watching this YouTube about a guy who thinks he's magic because he tossed a fork in the sink and it landed in a mason jar, and then and this guy is crazy, man. I know. It's nothing, and it's also something, all right? But then from the days that followed, I continued to do this as much as I could at the same exact time. I did middle pillar every single day for ultimately months at a time. I have it written in my journal, and I did not refer back to that because it doesn't matter. But I kept with it for over 8 months, every single day, never skipping, no matter if I traveled, no matter where I was, what location. I tried to do it in the same spot every time, because a meditation space in your own home or a ritual space or in front of your altar can kind of build up the energetic, you know, intensity of that spot. So that matters. That's important. Sure, whatever. Having a clean space that is yours, where you're just doing ritual or just doing meditation, that matters. And I did it in a fucking Airbnb in somebody's house that I don't even know, in some like bedroom. I did it on the beach, uh, on the coast of Oregon, because it's like it doesn't matter, and it kind of matters. The regularity matters. And I found that, for one thing, yes, synchronicities started to kick in, where there would be something that I dreamt about the night before, then I would see that image or that event occur during the day. It was nothing crazy like seeing the president get shot or something, but just I see an image, a very specific, particular image in a dream, and then later that day, I see that image out in a spot where I'm not ordinarily at. Things like this, just tiny little winks. And that I took note of that because I am an observant person, but also because that sort of shit didn't happen before. At least not in a way that I was picking up on. And so I'm doing the middle pillar. I'm noticing these changes around me, these changes in my world. I'm noticing my dreams are more vivid. They're more often lucid. My art is changing. The art that I'm making is becoming more about the stars and more about sacred geometry and being drawn to certain symbols that I don't even really understand. And noticing this subtle uh, but profound shift in what's happening in my mind, in my body, and around me. Eventually, I added the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram as well, and I'm not going to go into that here, but I was doing for at least 6 months both of those together. And what I believe that these do is that they are one form, not the only form, but they are one form of balancing one's chakras, balancing the left and right hemispheres of your body, the energetic center of your body, the energy that moves up your spine into your third eye. And it also cleanses and purifies and refines your aura, the field of energy that is around you. And those ripples, cast out into your physical reality so that the people that you run into and the interactions that you have and the experiences that you have are notably different, where it's like, okay, I don't know what this means, but something is not the same as it was before. And it is like my own universe behind these eyes, observing what is going on around me, is responding. It is fractaling back or mirroring back this presence, this awareness, this observation, almost as if this universe is living and it is aware of me as a singular soul, and it's aware of you too. And as I am doing this intentional thing, even not being sure what it means or what it does, the universe is like, hey, we see you. We see you. Yep. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Keep it coming, baby. Refine that energy. So I think it's important to say that this is something very powerful. And it is not at all the only way to do it. It is not the only ritual. It's not the only framework. It's not the only belief system. Um, it's not the one true path. It's more just like, if it resonates with you and you feel excited about doing it, then do it. And if it does not, or if it seems crazy, then don't worry about it. But because there are many different paths and systems across all cultures, across all of time, of human awareness and all of this, that all of those are valid too. And that any author or speaker or person who says, this is the one true way, this is the only way to reach enlightenment, this is the only way to clear your aura, this is the only way to clear your path, and Aleister Crowley was this master and we have to follow him, or these guys were tapped into truth in a way that we have to follow. It's like, nope, no you don't, no you don't, false. um and the beautiful thing about this is that it's like these rituals, they are rooted in a long-reaching historical context that is real. And it's like when you yourself are doing this ritual, you're almost like logging in to a pre-established um, tube of energy that a lot of people have engaged with before, and it's like you're tapping into a very strong signal. Perhaps this is just my way of interpreting it. This is just my way of thinking about it. And so when you tap into that wavelength that is already pre-established and strong, that has an effect. But it doesn't mean that's the only wavelength. Even, I mean, I'm sitting here in front of a Catholic church. Like, Catholicism and all of its many branches of belief and all of its deities and saints, and like, Mary, Jesus, all the saints, those are energetic wavelengths that are real, that you can tap into, but it doesn't mean it's the only thing. It may be a form of energy to support you in a particular moment of time. It may be it may be that at a time in your life you were drawn to a deity or a saint or a spirit or an angel or a god, and because it felt so personal and so true, whether it's Jesus or Mary Magdalene or Saint Francis, Saint Paul, Ganesha, Krishna, Satan, Belial, anything, man, anything, the Buddha. All of these are different forms of energy. That's it. And humans put these forms on them, put these, these human-like forms. We paint them and iconicize them as statues and stained glass, and people write texts about these entities. It's just a beam that you're tapping into. And you have the freedom always at any time to engage with any one of those and to give devotion and love to those and to treat them as if they are completely valid and real and pure power, pure love, pure spirit, pure divinity. And it's very important to have a nuanced understanding of these things, and not a closed-minded one, because in the occult world, especially in the ceremonial magic world, authors, especially male authors, love to just be like, I have found the one true way, and if you just do this ritual, you will be the king of all time. And it's like, bro, no, sorry, man, no, actually. Like, you did some good work, my man, and what you're tapped into is also real, but to tell people that it's the only way is fucking silly, because that's not true. And most of those guys were just trying to woo young women into their, obscure niche cult so that they could fuck them. Um, so that they could be like, I am the highest magus of all time and I will show you the path of enlightenment if you'll just let me put my dick inside you. And it's like, man, nah, dog. And also, best of luck to those guys, and I hope they had they busted off some great nuts or whatever. And that no innocent young women were harmed in the process. Anyway, about time to get to that ritual, isn't it? So I'm pulling out my ritual journal from 2020 because I, dear friends, have not performed middle pillar in a long time. Know why? Because I did it so long that I realized I didn't need to do it anymore. That's not because I'm better than it. That doesn't mean it's not real. That doesn't mean I might still do it sometimes for shits and giggles, but like, that's the whole point. Middle pillar is like a class you can take or a tool in your toolbox that you can use, but you don't need one tool for every job. And you don't stay in school forever. You stay in school until you graduate and you realize that you don't need school anymore and you can go out into the world and live and use the tools that you have when it seems like the right time to use them. All right. What's up, motherfuckers? You who came here just for the middle pillar ritual. Here it is. What you're going to want to do is to have a quiet space to yourself, preferably in your own home, in a clean area of your bedroom or your living room. If you live with roommates, close the door, lock the door, tell them that you need a few moments of silence to yourself or whatever. Do it out in nature, even. It doesn't matter. But ideally, just have at least 5 or 10 minutes of silence to yourself so that you will not be distracted and so that you can treat this with a lot of intention. So, stand up straight. It's also fine to sit. It's fine to lay down. Adjust according to your body. That's totally fine. It's not going to lessen the power of the ritual if you're sitting or in a meditative seat or sitting in a chair or lying flat on your bed. It's fine. It still works. It's fine. So the middle pillar, one of the things that it does is it boots up your chakras. And it has a different sort of system than the Hindu 7 chakra system. This works with just 5 points of energy along the spine from the top to the bottom throughout your body. So I'm going to read this whole phrase and then I'm going to talk you through it more slowly one by one so that you can repeat it. And I also put the instructions in the description of this video and the pronunciations. So the full phrase that is repeated through the middle pillar ritual is Ehyeh Yehoah Elohim Yehoah Eloah Va'da'ath Shaddai Elkai Adonai Haaretz. And these words are from Hebrew, and they mean, I am the Lord God of knowledge and wisdom, the Almighty Lord of the earth. So don't get hung up on the words God and Lord. I know that has deep implications or into Christianity, into Judaism, into Islam. Don't get hung up on God, because what this ritual is doing, what it is saying, is that you are God. You are the fullness of awareness. You are a supreme being. You are divine. You are holy. You are everything. So if you want to call it spirit, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it the universe, if you want to call it energy, light, darkness, call it whatever you want. Don't worry about these particular words. That's not what it's saying. It's not rooted in Christianity. It's not rooted in any of that. And the letters God are just expressing an idea of the fullness of the interconnectedness of everything, which you already are. So, as you're standing or laying or whatever position you're in, start to envision a pearlescent white ball of light above your head, just above your crown, and make that light as bright and beautiful and strong as you possibly can. This glowing sphere of energy that is coming from the purest, most powerful place, the most powerful source in the universe, and you are connected to that source. And this ritual is beautiful because it starts at your head instead of your feet or instead of your chest. It starts up top in the fullness of divinity, the fullness of purity, that oneness that you came from and that you will return to. And so just take some deep breaths in and out. I would recommend about 3 or 5, really calm down your system. Let go of all other thoughts from the day. Let go of all other thoughts in general and try to clear your mind and just focus on your breath and focus on that beautiful pearl of holy light above your head. And when you have a really clear view of that, you can vibrate the words, as in, sound them out loud in a resonant way, like a mantra. And you say, eh, he, and really take in a full breath and then exhale, saying that phrase. Say it at least 3 times in a row. And each time that you say it, you see the pearl of light getting brighter and brighter. And ehie means I am. This is an acknowledgement, an acceptance of your holiness, your beauty, your fullness in this universe. And this is incredibly real, whether you believe it or know it or not. So visualizing that white pearl, you say ehie, long and slow, 3 to 5 times. Do it as many times as you like. Before you see that pearl still there, and then move the energy down through the center of your head, down through your skull, into your throat area, right over the center of your throat. And here you're going to, at the same time, visualize, if you can, keep that white sphere there, but visualize a light blue sphere over your throat, because the throat and the voice are very important. Being able to unlock the voice, being able to open up this chakra point and not being afraid to speak the words of God. And so as you're visualizing this blue sphere over your throat and the energy between the top pearl and the throat pearl connected, you're going to say, Yehovah Elohim. Yehovah Elohim. And again, repeat that 3 to 5 times. Do it more if you like, but at least 3. And you see that blue pearl getting brighter and brighter. And this is the link between your conscious mind and your higher self, your thinking mind and your highest self, bridging the gap between those worlds. Then move down after you've repeated that. Try to keep all the spheres present in your visualization, but also don't stress about it. It's no big deal. Then move down to your chest, the center of your chest, right above your sternum, and see a golden sphere of light there, a golden ball of energy. And it's also fine to take breaths in between each of the mantras and to really get that image bright and clear of these spheres. Feel it in your body. Feel what each of the different light signatures feels like, the energetic signatures. So this golden light in your chest, this is the conscious mind by itself, even though it's down here. This is your conscious mind. And what you're going to say at this sphere is Yehovah Eloah Vada'ath. And again, take in one full deep breath and let the out breath be that mantra. And repeat it 3 to 5 times. So far we have Ehie, Yehovah Elohim, Yehovah Eloah Vada'ath. And this means I am the Lord God of knowledge and wisdom. using these powerful vibrational phrases to affirm and acknowledge and call in the energy of divinity that you already are. It's just reinforcing what's already there. Next, move your attention down to your pelvis, down to your groin, right over your genitals. Yep. And you're going to see a purple sphere there, just below your belly in your pelvic bowl. And here you're going to vibrate the phrase Shaddai El Kai. The pelvic bowl or your groin or the sacral chakra is associated with your subconscious, with shadow energy, with moon energy, and with sexual energy, yes, but also suppressed things from past lives, suppressed trauma, shadow, parts of yourself that you have not accepted. And Shaddai El Kai, the mantra for that spot, means the Almighty. So the Almighty is in your pussy and in your balls and in whatever else you have. It literally is. Divinity is closest when you are orgasming. So that is one facet of that sector of your energetic body. And even though that's kind of a joke, I'm absolutely serious. It really is. Shaddai El Kai, repeat that mantra. And so now you have 4 spheres of light illuminated along your spine, above the crown, at the throat, at the chest, at the pelvis. Lastly, go down to your feet and see a black sphere there. It can be below your feet, it can be covering your feet. And the phrase here, the mantra is Adonai Haaretz. Adonai Haaretz. This means Lord of the earth, because beneath your feet is the earth that has supported you, that has held you up. It is earth energy. It is grounding energy, the energy of pentacles and the suit of Taro. And so you're activating these 5 spheres along your spine, along your energetic body. And ideally, if you can visualize all of them lit up after those mantras and see them all just glowing as brightly as you can, and like a beam of pure light linking between all of them up and down. And you can even visualize above your head a beam of light connecting to pure spirit, pure source, or the sun, whatever you like. The purest, most beautiful light in the universe, the strongest light in the universe, above your head, beaming right through your body. And then down below your feet, it connects you to the grounding energy of earth so that you are anchored like a pillar between the two. Lastly, this aspect or this element of the ritual helps cleanse and refine your aura. Now that we've booted up the chakras, there are energetic spirals that move through your body, these sort of swirls or oval egg-like shapes of energy, of moving light, of moving energy that are invisible. And so while you have all those visualized, your connection to the purest source of light, grounded down to earth, these chakras booted up, then start to view a kind of almost like Doctor Strange when he pulls up when he conjures a circle and it's all fiery and sparkly on the outside, when he conjures a portal. View one of those in an egg shape going counterclockwise around your whole body, kind of top to bottom like this, or sideways. You know what I mean? Like it would be parallel to your arms, up and down, and just start to spin that light. If you can hold the visualization of all the spheres and the beam and that egg of golden light, just like vroom, vroom, send it in spirals around you, in revolutions around your whole body. Keep that going and make it as like strong, and build it up and keep breathing. Always keep breathing. Big, deep, long breaths. See that as strong as possible. So you have that motion. When you feel like that's locked in, then you can start to do energy from sort of parallel with your nose. So going from the top of your head down in a straight line from your nose to your feet and across the back of your body like this, so that they form a sort of egg cage, an egg shell, energy moving this way, energy moving this way, and just like get those revving as fast as possible until you are seated in, you're housed in this just buzzing ball of light, this egg of energy. And what this is doing is just like absolutely scrubbing your aura, for one thing. It's pushing all negative energy out of your system. It's cleansing your aura. It is refining the world around you. Because after this ritual, you literally will be different than when you began. Even if it's subtle, even if it is hard to notice or define. So after you've done all this, you've got this thrumming egg of energy around you. Then when it's at its strongest and when you feel ready, stay in it as long as you like. Once you feel ready, start to slow it down and just pull all that light, all the light spiraling around you, the spheres, just let them kind of dissolve and pull in and minimize down into your heart, down into your chest, down into your body, so that you absorb and contain and maintain all of that cleansing. It stays with you, but it's kind of like, closing down a program. It's engaging with something for a while and then choosing to reground into material reality. And then just take some more deep breaths, maybe say a little word of thanks, or put your, hands to your thumbs to your third eye. Give a little bow, whatever you want. Or you can do nothing. You can go eat chips and watch Family Guy. It doesn't matter. Give it as little or as much reverence as you want. But you having done this ritual with intention is your nervous system and your DNA recognize something about this specific process that is deeper than your cognizant mind knows. It's deeper than logic. It's deeper than you yourself, your personality understands in this moment. But the history of this and this energy and how it is connected to the stars and everything is written in your DNA, and you will feel, or you ought to most likely feel, a change in your environment. So that's the middle pillar. Now, it's important to say also that, like, don't come to me and comment. Don't go do this once and half-ass it and then just be like, I didn't feel anything. What the fuck? You have to, I mean, it's like, if you're treating it like that, if you're treating anything in life like that, you're not going to get the response that you want. And you will know if you are intuitive, and if you're paying attention, and if you care about this, if you care about engaging with this and giving it a try, then it will it will be evident to you the changes that occur. Maybe after a week, maybe after a month. I don't know. It's different for everyone. Some people, the very first one will be very powerful. Um, and also remember, it's just a tool. Even if it is very powerful, don't get hung up on this is the new answer to everything. This is going to change my whole life. Maybe it will change your life in a certain sense, but it's still just a tool. It's still just a very powerful, real tool in your toolbox that does do a real thing that your DNA and your higher self recognizes. But don't come back to me after just one and say, hey, it didn't do anything. You got to stick with it a little more. You got to have some patience and some discipline and some intuition and listen. So I think that's it. Thank you for being here. I have a Patreon, which is free, which has a lot more talks on these sort of subjects about the occult, about energy, about what is going on in the world at the moment, about what's going on for me, and gleaning information and then regurgitating it to you in the way that it makes sense to me, not because I am so interesting, but because it ends up helping other people find a way to engage with these things that is understandable. That's my only hope. Um, I support myself off of these things, so give me your money now. I have PayPal, Cash App, Venmo links, and I sell my prints and art online. But